Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UFC Fight Night I vs. Calvillo Virtual Media Day. UFC Fight Night I vs. Calvillo takes place this Saturday, June 13th at UFC Apex in Las Vegas. All bouts will air on ESPN and ESPN Deportes in English and Spanish and be simulcast on ESPN Plus, beginning with the prelims at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and the main card at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. As a reminder, this is being recorded. Please remember to select your hand icon in the bottom right corner of your screen if you wish to ask questions, and we will unmute you. Select the hand icon again when you are finished or to be removed from the queue. We will be kicking things off with the #1 ranked UFC women's flyweight contender, Jessica Eye. Jessica, thank you for joining us today.
Hi. Do I just look straight ahead?
Straight ahead is perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi.
We will take the first question from Mark Raimondi with ESPN.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Just wondering, it's obviously been a crazy time for everyone right now, and the last few months have been, I'm sure, difficult to train to everyone's capability. I mean, what kind of challenges did you face, being in Vegas during the pandemic? I know that gyms kind of just opened there, last week or something.
I was super fortunate. I'm a very self-motivated person. Within the first 10 days of the pandemic, I had been working with zebra mats, Kyle over there, and we had gotten mats out in the first week to my house. So we had a full little wrestling area, like pads on the ground, a wall pads. I had squat racks, kettlebells, weights. So really, I feel like I've been in camp for months, already. March 15th is when all the gyms in Las Vegas closed down, the UFC PI. That I believe was a Wednesday. And, by that following week, I was already back into training. And I've been training, since the December fight. We had a short, small break there with my elbow surgery, but there wasn't a moment that I wasn't training, and working towards being better. So no challenges for Miss I other than missing the crap out of just seeing some other human contact besides my brother and Darren, who I live with.
I believe you've been training a little bit recently with Gray Maynard, and obviously he was known for tremendous wrestling throughout his MMA career. How has that helped you?
Gray has been incredible. I'm so fortunate for him. Unfortunately, this time he won't be cornering with us just due to the separation. During that time, I brought out one of my old training partners during this pandemic, who's actually moving to Las Vegas with his girlfriend. But you've seen him corner with me before when we were in Singapore. He's an NCAA wrestler, most recently graduated from Notre Dame College, All-American. He's actually back in my corner this time. He was actually the guy that taught me my inside trip, my outside single, my doubles. So I'm really pumped to have him back. Him and Gray have very similar qualities in their wrestling style, which helps me to make my striking and my wrestling a lot better. So me and Gray spoke last week. Like I said, unfortunately, he has family and kids. I want to keep them as safe as they possibly can. So we just kept our distance, and I really quarantined with my house, which was my brother, my black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach, my wrestling coach, and then a couple other Ohio people that were living by themselves. So since they were by themselves, I said, come on over to the IPI and we can train.
The IPI, I like that. Your last fight, of course, you won against Viviana Araujo, but you missed weight by a few pounds. Any level of concern heading into tomorrow's weigh-in?
No, I had my menstrual cycle 2 weeks ago. So it was pretty awesome. I know that, you're a man and 90% of the fans are going to be men, and that you're just going to say I'm making an excuse, and I'm not. It's something you guys don't understand. It wasn't something I wanted to happen. We really, 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 really tried. I worked with everybody the entire time. I water loaded. I was dieting. Literally, I'm a nutrition freak, right? I don't eat bread, I don't eat certain things because it's just not my style. So it wasn't a matter of preparation. My body just misfired. And unfortunately, I am a woman. One of my jobs in life is to have babies, and I can't help that I deal with that. And I would hope that the men, deal with low testosterone, and you have your backlashes. Us as women have menstrual cycles and we deal with things. So they can either accept it for is what it is or they cannot. I mean, that's not a concern to me. I just know that it won't happen again. We're working forward. I might have my period on another fight week, and I guess that we'll just keep planning like we do and tracking everything.
So on point for tomorrow morning.
We are on point.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks.
We will take the next question from Ezekiel Berganzi with Super Luchas.
Hello, Jessica. How are you?
I'm great.
You're going against Cynthia Calvillo, who is very good in the ground. No, she has a lot of submissions. And how do you see against her? Which will be the keys for a possible victory against her on Saturday?
You know, I think I keep hearing a lot about, Cynthia's ground game, and I respect every woman I will ever come in contact with in the octagon, right? Like, this is a fight sport. We're all here because we are the elite of the elite. So no matter what weight class, no matter who they are, I mean, I'm always going to respect them. But the fact that everybody's talking about how her ground game is so much better than mine and that I should be scared, I just like to remind everybody that I live with a black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist who has been a black belt for many years under the Gracie family. And to give everybody a little bit of insight, I'm preparing for a submission underground post-fight week. I'm competing that following Sunday against another black belt. So grappling has been all that I have been doing. I mean, every day me and Darren grappled and worked on my skill set that I don't think that she thinks that she's going to have much more, or even you guys keep letting her think that she's going to have this advantage over me on the ground. I have submitted people before. I will submit them again, or I'll do whatever it means to, to get the win. But I'll when the fight goes to the ground, I'll showcase my skills.
And do you think people underestimate this card and underestimate you as a fighter?
I don't really know, because all the people that I do come in contact with, believe in me and believe in all of us women and love this fight card. So I try to not give any attention to the 5 people that don't like it on the internet, and I focus on the 500 people that are saying all the great things.
And you came of a win, and now if you beat Cynthia, do you have a focus on another title shot against Valentina, or you are only focused on this fight and fast forward, nothing matters, like you're only focused on this fight and let's see what's happened next? What do you think?
I am looking forward to this fight and this fight only, and preparing for my grappling match post. This is my athletic season. I'm ready to compete, and the first 2 things that I have to take care of is Cynthia, following by my submission underground match. So right now, the task at hand is what's right in front of me. We'll make decisions as they come. I don't count my eggs before they hatch.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we'll take the next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Jess, obviously this is a marquee fight for this division and for you personally. You've been a part of a lot of big fights and main events outside the UFC. You've been a lot of co-main events in the UFC. But how big is this moment to go out there and really shine in your first, where the spotlight really is on you and you alone as the main event?
It's pretty awesome, because I didn't even hear the matchup when Mick and Eric talked with me. Like, it didn't even, I was like, main event, hell yeah, who is it? And they had already said, Cynthia, main event. And I was like, main event, hell yeah, who is it? And they're like, Jessica, Cynthia, main event, per Dana. And I'm like, if Dana says yes, and I'm the main event, then yes, I'll take this fight. I'll do it. I doubtly I would have even agreed to this fight had it not been given a main event, because I think it's awesome. I think that we get 2 weekends in a row where women are main eventing, and it's such an evolution in the world. Women are just as great as the men are, just as much of a draw. And I think that it's just cool. I mean, I think that we're becoming more equals to each other, and there's not these awkward moments where people are like, oh, I'm not going to watch it because girls are on the card. They're like, oh, I'm going to watch it because there's girls on the card.
You mentioned, you said the opponent really didn't matter as much as the opportunity. And Cynthia is a very skilled fighter, but she's coming in literally her first fight as a flyweight. And there are other ranked flyweights out there, potentially that you could have fought, the Lauren Murphys, the Roxanne Modafferi, things like that. Like, at the end of the day, did the opponent matter when you actually thought about it, or was it just all about the main event?
Oh man, it's kind of crazy because I think that really it wasn't either. It wasn't the main event. It wasn't even Cynthia. It's that I had been training so hard through the pandemic and in the gym. I just wanted to showcase how much my brother, me, and Darren, and Eric and my corner, we've all been, how hard we've been working through this. He was preparing, Francis Ngannou was preparing for his fight, and there was a lot back and forth. So Eric was, willing to hit mitts for me, a day or two a week. And then we were training all the time. So it was like, I don't know. I just was like so sick of being in the house. Like, wore my pretty clothes today because I was just so sick of not feeling like I couldn't express myself and show people all the changes I had made. Like how much better shape I got in, how much better my ground games got, how much better my elbow is since elbow surgery. So I don't even know. Like I said, when I got that phone call, I was literally in between my morning session and my evening session because I'd set a schedule for myself. I created my own little work schedule throughout from March 15th until we returned. What was it? When did the world open back up? Just recently, until the gyms opened up 2.5 weeks ago. So for me, it was like, I don't know. I just didn't hear it. I just was like, main event, yes, in shape, working your butt off. I had already planned, and asked Mick a couple of times, like, hey, you got anything for me? And you want me for June, when you get here? And there was no, word. So I text him again, and I'm like, Mick, answer me. Like, I'm gonna plan for Submission Underground June 21st, since you don't have anything. I'm like, I'm so itching to just get back to something, some kind of like competition. And sure as crap, we got the announcement, and I was like, well, we're doing both. So.
And last question, Jess, I want to kind of get your take on the state of the flyweight division and how this division is being perceived, by the UFC and by the fans, because it's still relatively new. There's obviously Valentina is still the first and, not the first, but the only champion who's defended the belt after the title was initially introduced. But we haven't seen as many high-profile flyweight fights get this kind of attention. You're in a main event. Obviously, Valentina has been in main events and co-main events, but there haven't been as many high-profile flyweight fights. Like, what do you make of that, and what do you make of the state of the division as we move forward into this fight and in the rest of 2020?
It's pretty awesome. This will be my 13th UFC fight. I'm 10 years as a professional. I've got over 20 professional fights. It's pretty awesome, going into my 13th UFC fight, and I get to main event a show. So I think that the flyweight division is developing, right? It was no different than the bantamweight. I remember whenever we were like, oh, Ronda's the only one. And then we saw that title be like, boom, 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 right? Like, it takes time for things to sort themselves out. It takes time for divisions to work. I'm so proud of the flyweight division. I think all the girls are dope. I think all of them are awesome. There's only like one I really don't like, and I'm probably never going to fight her just because I don't like her and she don't deserve to stand in the cage with me. I'll meet her in a back alley. But I'm proud of everybody. I'm totally proud of the division. I'm proud of where it's going. I'm proud of what is being developed. You know what I mean? And I think that if we continue on the right track, you give moments like this where, your vets like myself get a chance to showcase our stardom as well as our athleticism and ability to create a card. You'll see more of them. You'll see more of times you see maybe a female flyweight, maybe main event a card that isn't, the champ or the number one girl. You'll see just two really good fighters, maybe 5 and 10, or maybe unranked because they're just that good. So I think we're forever changing and developing, and that, again, there's no stipulations. There's no mold to create. Just keep trying new things.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
And we will take our next question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hi, Jessica. Can I ask, who is the fighter that you're saying you won't fight in the cage but in the back alley?
Don't worry, you'll find out one day. I'm not gonna let you guys go there and start shit on my fight week.
All right, no problem. One of the things, I was rereading your profile from Hallie Grossman for ESPN. Jessica, you talk about a lot of things, of overcoming that, with your father and your history, and then professionally, look, the loss to Valentina was a rough one, and you bounced back with a great performance. Mentally, how do you get past this? Because we see different people, not just fighters, struggle with it. What's the key to just, taking what you've gone through and always pushing forward and moving forward?
Fighting and training isn't the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And let alone at the age of, 33, I'm wiser, I'm calmer, I'm better about the things that I do. That loss was not the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Saying goodbye to my father was harder. Saying, I forgive you for many, many years of things that have been longer than my fight career. Losing people I love to death, to drug overdoses, to violence in the streets from the riots. Like, fighting is not the hardest thing I'm going to do. Losing is not the hardest thing I'm going to do. So for me, why should I give it more than what it is? It's a part of my growth. It's a part of my story. It's a part of who I am. And if I use it to make me better and break that mold of, things that I did wrong, then I can be better. Mistakes and wrongdoing constitutes change. And I feel like society is getting better about it, as well as myself. And I'm given a slight microphone in this world. I'll do my very best to showcase how to be better in that way. How to believe, how to be better than things that don't make you feel good, and how to get past that. Social media, and as well as media sources, you guys are given a much bigger microphone. And if we all focused on doing that a little bit more, and I say things like that, we can really, really make change.
A big event, we know a lot about how it's going to impact your silence and to be dialed in, or do you think it might take a second to adjust to it?
No, I definitely think I'll be dialed in. I like I've been saying, I got I fought in December. We started training right back into it, started working on making sure we got a really good track on my menstrual cycle, so I never missed weight because of that. Then I had a really bad elbow injury that's been long overdue since we got my back injury under control. Then we decided to do elbow surgery. And then, I went back into, had my elbow surgery, went to therapy. Then the pandemic happened and the quarantine started. That I just continued training, and continued doing the things. Like, I didn't want to come out of this not feeling like I didn't do enough for myself. That's like, I had more time. I didn't have to leave the house. I had time to do things for me. So I am eager to get in this cage. I have to keep myself calm because I want to lay some hands. I want to fight again. I want this. I have so much motivation in my soul, and I want to give it to so many other people, but I also want to go out there and pad my bank account, make people like me more, be a good influence. So no, I think we've seen that. I've taken two in my UFC career. I've had a 12-month layoff and an 18-month layoff.
My final question, I want to make it a bit more of a positive one. You called out Joe Rogan after your last fight with Araujo, and he's still not having you on. Do you have a message for the $100 million man after he took a peek and he still hasn't invited you?
I don't know. I guess Joe doesn't like me. I don't know. I guess I give up now. It's like chasing that boy, and I'm like, man, I'm moving on. Michael Rappaport, hit me up. Let's get on your podcast.
Thank you, Jessica.
And we'll take our last set of questions with Shaquille Majori with MMA Mania.
Hey, Jessica. Thanks for making the time today.
Yeah, I got plenty of time right now until about 7 o'clock, and then we cut.
So, it's clear that you mentioned how you notice the critics. It's a minority of people and you try to ignore them. For you, what's that process like of putting that negativity to the side? Because I think it's something that a lot of people deal with.
There's crazy thing that social media has, and it's called a block button. It's crazy. So crazy. It's not there if I don't see it. And to be honest, like it's one of these things that like for me, it took me so long. Like I remember going through things that like when I failed for the drug test and like I felt like everybody knew things about me and like I really focused too much on social media and then like I just tried to be somebody on social media that maybe I wasn't. That now I remember on social media that like that guy on the emoji, you know, has a zero emoji, you know, like a couple followers, and he goes, "Man, I's gonna get her butt whooped. This is terrible." He's just not real to me. It just doesn't like register in my brain anymore that this person's real. Like it can't hurt me. Like because even if that person was in front of me, they would never say that. But let alone like it's I feel like I got to make sure I articulate my words properly with this. Is like it doesn't seem real. It's not real. You know what I mean? Unless I actually have known you or seen you or put a face behind that voice, it just doesn't really matter to me. It's not real. Does it make sense? Like if someone said something on social media and they were just a little emoji face, are you really going to get that offended by that? Like they don't even, they would never even say that to you in a bar. Like they're like, "Oh, Jessica, I'd hit that." Like I bet you wouldn't say that to my face. You know, like these aren't real. These are just emotions that people are trying to fake and say for attention. So, I worry about myself.
Use that block button. I think you're absolutely right. Now, you touched on the menstrual stuff quite a bit, and I think you're right when you say, particularly the majority of people here interviewing right now are not the most equipped to tell you about it. I have talked to a lot of female fighters, though, because I do think it's something that fans should be educated about. And the response I've gotten is kind of split. Some women say, you know, it's just something that happens and it's hard to prepare for. Others say, you know, it's going to be something you deal with every month. And, you know, Roxanne Modafferi is someone who's had a lot of fighters come in overweight, and she's expressed frustration about it. Where do you stand on how well female fighters can prepare for the biology?
So it's been really great. The PI has created a tracking system for us. So like there's a tracking system that we can at least put us in a couple day windows of each other, right? Like all of you men, I'm sure that when you're trying to have a baby with your girl, there's ovulation days and days that you're trying, and right, and some days you fail. And then one day you're like, "Oh, we succeeded, we made a baby." You know, so there's tracking, right? Like, and I didn't realize because, you know, many years of my early career, I just didn't have that. You know, I was in my early 20s. Now I'm 33. You know, like my body's changed. I'm continuously changing, right? Like all the time. And the older we get, things start to change. So for me, that was really what it was, is like better preparation, better planning. It was only my second time at the UFC PI, you know, working with them and in a nutritional way. So it's a little bit of both. You know, I'm doing a better job to plan for myself, and I'm sharing that with people who are very educated and that can help me. You know, it's not been a problem for me many times. Unfortunately, we screwed up this last time, and I paid dearly for it. So while everybody else has this opinion, I bet they didn't pay someone $14,000+ to still make a fight happen, because that was the choice that I had. I said that to them. I said, "Hey guys, look, I can continue to cut and we can sacrifice possibly not making the fight, or I'll come in, I'll pay, we make the fight still happen." You know, and I didn't come in crazy overweight the next day. I came in what I normally come at a fight. You know, so it was like, again, I'm sorry it happened. I made a mistake. It constitutes change. I'm being better about my off season and my off season weight and things that I've done. So again, I hope it never happens again to me or any female for that matter, because it's mortifying. And people just, you know, like act like they like we're the worst human beings in the world. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm a female and I have a menstrual cycle. You know, I'm
Yeah, time to keep using that block button. Well, it's interesting to know the UFC PI has those resources now. Last thing from me, what's this post-fight celebration like for you? How are you gonna celebrate and ease back after all the craziness leading into this fight?
I get to go home to my dogs, which is like my favorite thing in the world. Like if my dogs could be cage side, like it would just melt my heart. I just love them so much. I probably sound so crazy over it, but They have been the best thing in my life. So I just can't wait to get the win. I mean, the Apex is about 2 streets away from my house. So all my friends are at my house. So I can't wait to go home, eat some food, hang out, and then get right back into things on Monday to get ready for my submission underground. So I want to keep momentum going. And I just, it's really nice. I got to see a couple of my Ohio family friends, my family have came out and they're at my house watching the fight. So I can't wait to go home and see him and hug him because I haven't seen him in so long.
I'm sure the dogs are looking forward to seeing you too. Thanks, Jessica. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. That is all the time we had for you. You are good to go.
Thank you. You rock.
And next up, we will be joined by UFC middleweight Karl Roberson. We now welcome UFC middleweight Karl Roberson. Karl, thank you for the time today, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Thank you. We will take the first question from Augusto German Niez-Gay with Somos MMA.
Karl, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. First of all, I would like to ask you if you think that all this with Marvin Vettori went too personal.
Maybe on his side. It's never personal on my side. I could care less how he feels, what he thinks.
And how are you doing, taking into account all your medical issues a month ago? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling much better. Took the precautions I needed to, got the doctors around me I needed to, got the nutritionists around me I needed to, and everything's going as planned.
And what about the training camp? How did it go?
Training camp went really well. Training camp went well. Did everything, got to work and I needed to, got the training partners there down I needed to, and everything's going as planned.
Okay, and taking out all the stuff outside of the octagon, how do you imagine is going to be the fight on Saturday?
No, the fight on Saturday is going to be a banger. I said we both like to stand. He got some animosity towards me, and I like to punch people. So I like to be violent in there, and all my fights show that. So Saturday is going to show that too.
Do you think the reschedule affects you in any way?
No, I don't. The reschedule helped me with the issues I had in the last cut, and helped me better with my mind and body. So everything's where it's supposed to be.
And well, the last one from me, which aspects do you consider are going to be the key for winning on Saturday?
Fast mind, adapting, and hitting hard.
Okay, thank you very much, Karl. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we will take the next question from Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Hey, thanks very much. And welcome back, Karl. I know you said that if there's anger or anything here, it's on his side. Is that something you do with all of your fights? It's more important to just focus on it and not let those emotions overwhelm you and affect the fight?
Yeah, you never let the emotions overwhelm you. Emotions get you in trouble. Emotions put you in bad positions. So calm mind is a dangerous mind. A calm body is a dangerous body. So I stay calm and stay focused.
Now, I don't want to focus on it too much then, but the hotel confrontation that you went through, I think at one point you called it a setup. With a little time having passed and reflection, do you still feel that way?
Yeah, it was definitely a setup. Like if you watch the video, the dude's camera was coming open before the elevator even opened. How did he know that was happening? That don't make any sense. And that was from his team. Again, how did he even know I was coming down the elevator? He was waiting. setup, obvious.
All right, last one on that subject then. Have you ever had a feud like this or an opponent react like this to you at any point in your career?
No, like I don't really deal with childish people, so I don't really run into them that much. So this is my first time for me.
Fair enough. And, the weight cut obviously went bad last time. And I'm wondering if you just speak on, kind of what went wrong, what adjustments you've made for this one.
Everything went wrong last weight cut. Body shut down, mind shut down, passed out. Got sent to the hospital, got pulled from the fight. This one, I got nutritionists around me. I got doctors around me who make sure everything's right, make sure my levels stay right, make sure I'm not overdoing it, and make sure I'm not cutting too much at once.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And we will take the next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Karl, I know a lot of questions are coming in about the weight cut, but I got to ask this. We've seen some pretty bad weight cuts in the past, and it can take some time to recover from that and kind of get back to normal, kidney shutdown, things like that. This is only happening a month after that fight was scheduled. So, how long did it take you after that whole incident happened for you to get back to normal, for your body to feel normal again?
It took a little bit, definitely took a little bit. Took a lot of blood work and electrolyte checking and all that to make sure everything was good. Took a lot of scans and all that. So everything was checked, and I wasn't pushed too hard at first to see if my body could even do it. And I got cleared, so I'm here.
Were you happy with the timing of this fight? I mean, again, only 4 weeks after the last one, would you have preferred to be a little further away, or were you happy to get it rescheduled quickly?
I'm a fighter. It is what it is to me. Like you said, give me a date, I'm going to fight. If I can make it, I'm going to make it. And they gave me a date, and I said yes, so let's do it.
You've said the bad blood, with Marvin doesn't really affect you, doesn't really bother you, but at the end of the day, were you happy that you got this fight and not just some other guy?
Yeah, definitely. He's a bigger name, more exposure, and it's a break into the top 15 with the two top of the division right now who's not in the top 15 with two prospects looking to climb the division. So we have to fight each other.
A lot of fighters say, it's not good to fight with emotion. You got to kind of shut yourself down because emotion can kind of eat you up in the octagon. It can, burn you out in a way. Do you feel like you're going to look for that in this fight, considering Marvin's going to be charged up? He's angry. He's been very vocal about it. Do you feel like that could actually work against him in this fight?
It's definitely gonna work to my advantage. He's emotional. He's an emotional kid. He can't control himself. He showed that in the hotel. He showed that in his interviews. He can't control himself, and I'm gonna just pick him apart, whoop his ass.
And last question, the last one got a lot of attention, probably for the wrong reasons because of the whole hotel incident, the weight miss, everything like that. But now you guys are going to be co-main event, on a card on ESPN. I mean, again, not that you wanted things to play out the way they did the last time, but do you feel like this is an even bigger opportunity now because of everything that happened?
This is definitely a bigger opportunity. I'd rather get a co-main event off of just skill, not off of banter and theatrics in the hotel, but it is what it is. We got here, so time to show out.
Thanks, Karl.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Mike Heck with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Karl, even though the fight was postponed because of the health issues and the weight cut and you took care of all of that, is it almost like a blessing in disguise that this fight was pushed back because, one, you get a better spot, and two, there's a lot more buzz behind it?
Definitely. The buzz is fantastic. You get more of a show. People are looking at this fight. People consider this fight the main event on the card, and for a reason. We both fight. Everybody who watch our fights know we stand there and bang, we push the pace, and we never back down. Looking forward to it.
Have you felt this kind of buzz in any of your fights prior to this? Especially, I know this is your first co-main event. This is the highest marquee spot you've been in, but have you felt a buzz for a fight that you've been involved in like this before?
Yeah, my Contender Series fight, the Glover Teixeira fight, my MSG fight, all buzz because everybody looking for me to fight because they know I bang.
I wanted to ask you about last weekend, UFC 250. We saw fighters like Aljamain Sterling, Alex Caceres, and Devin Clark use the platform to promote the protests against racial injustice, and Devin Clark put his fists in the air, and it was a really cool moment. I just wanted to get your reaction to that because I know you've been posting about it a little bit on social media. You've had a couple of blackout days on Instagram. I just wanted to get your take and your stance on everything that's going on in the country.
I love it. I love that people are standing up. I love people showing that they support us and that they want change. That's what we need. that's what we need, and that's what we're going to show, and we're going to keep doing it until we get it.
What in particular do you see is the biggest issue in this country right now in terms of getting everybody together? Because I know it's something that's going to be a slow progression. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think a lot of those fighters like Alex and Aljamain and Devin all agree that eventually we can all get there. What do you think we all need to do better?
Eventually, we all can get there. We need to see each other's sides better. That's pretty much what it is. See where everybody's coming from. Not everybody's come from the same past, same family, same neighborhoods. And not everybody's given the same opportunities. And people need to notice that and approach it in a certain way. Like, people can't keep looking down on other people because of where they come from. That's not how anything's going to change. You need to accept the fact that everybody comes from different walks of life, and everybody should be equal in every walks of life. Have their responsibilities and have their choices. So quality is the goal, and that's what we're looking for.
And then last thing for me, Alex Caceres was sharing a couple of stories of things that impacted him. And I spoke with Devin Clark yesterday. He shared a story with me as well. Has that happened to you before where you were, I guess, profiled or mistreated by whether it's police officers or other people in your community based on who you are, the color of your skin, et cetera?
Yes, definitely. That happens all the time. That happens when we go to grocery stores, when we're walking down the street and people cross the street when they see us walking. People grab their purses. People come out of elevators and wait for the next one when we come into the elevator. So it's little things that people don't think we notice. That we notice, we just don't say much about it. Now that it's time to be spoken up, it's time to show. It's time to show that we need this to stop, because this affects people. You'd be surprised how many people get hurt just by little things. It'd be the greatest people, like nicest person that you'll never know just off the looks, that you think they're scary or something. That's disappointing in the world.
Carl, I appreciate the candor. All the best to you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. That is all the time we had for you, sir. You are good to go.
Thank you, brother.
And next up, we will be joined by UFC featherweight Andre Fili. As a reminder, if you wish to ask a question, please select the hand icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Once you have asked your questions, or if you want to be removed from the queue, select that hand icon again. Thank you.
just signed this undefeated kid. He's from Sweden, originally from Chechnya. But I have not been exciting like this in the last 10 years about the prospect. So excited, man. This guy is so good. He'll be in 2 years. Will be a UFC contender.
that. Your last fight, of course, you won against Viviana Rajo, but you missed weight by a few pounds. Any level of concern heading into tomorrow's weigh-in?
No, I had my menstrual cycle 2 weeks ago, so it was pretty awesome. I know that you're a man.
And we now welcome UFC featherweight Andre Fili. Andre, thank you for the time today, sir.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
Andre, first of all, it's very rare that a fighter gets to have some big, like their movie come out during quarantine. Can you just talk about that's been like? Everyone had time to watch your work.
It's been cool, man. The reception's been good, and the movie was good. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm a huge movie nerd, so being part of a movie like that where I actually got to act a little bit, and it wasn't gimmicky. It was a real movie, and I got to play a real character. It was a blessing, man. It was a very cool experience, and I can't wait to do more. And I hope everybody liked it. I hope I didn't suck too bad. So it was a really cool experience.
Where are you at in terms of the process? You enjoyed acting. Have you actually sent out those feelers to try to get a Hollywood agent and taken any acting courses? Have you done anything else on that front?
Not really. Not really. Fighting is my main focus right now. I'm open to doing more movies. I really would like to do more movies. But fighting is the main focus right now. Faber's producing movies, and so we kind of have a team of guys that are writing and producing movies, and I'm making some really cool stuff. So when they're ready for me to be another project, I'll be ready. But fighting and being the best fighter in the world is my main priority right now.
I'm glad you mentioned Uriah. That guy can coach, he can fight, he runs businesses. Now he's a producer. How did he do?
He did really well, man. Everything that guy touches, man, he kills it. It's inspiring to see. He's a dad now too, so he's killing it at that as well. So, man, he can do it all. So, just trying to follow his lead and be ready for when opportunity arises.
Final question from me: what does Charles Jourdain bring to the table that makes him a dangerous opponent?
He's aggressive. He spams flying knees, so you got to watch out for that. Seems to be pretty athletic, and he believes, every shot he throws, he really believes. You can tell he believes in his striking. So I'm excited to put that to the test. I'm excited to beat him.
Thank you.
And we will take our next question from Ezekiel Berganzi with Super Luchas.
Hey, Andre, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How it went this camp?
Sorry?
How it went this training camp?
Camp went well. Yeah, it was a short camp. It was 3 weeks, but I was training before that, so I'm always ready.
And you came from a loss in UFC 256, and which aspects of your game do you polish to ensure you the victory on Saturday?
I really think that I was pretty sharp against Sadiq, but Sadiq's a great fighter, I'm gonna go out this time and have a little more fun and really just get in a fight. You got to find that balance of being calculated and also get in a fist fight. You can't be over calculated. I think I'm just gonna go out and have fun. I'm gonna go out and have fun and impose my will.
And my final question, getting outside of cage, do you agree with Parasite winning the best Oscar picture in this year?
I like Parasite, but I didn't love Parasite. I know it's like an unpopular opinion. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I actually want to watch it again. I really enjoyed Parasite, but I didn't love it as much as everybody else. I think it had a lot of great things to say. It's a great movie. Great movie. I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't in love with it. Like the guys who told me to watch it they loved the movie. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I don't pay attention to Oscars very much. I'm a huge movie guy, but I really don't watch the Oscars. I mean, I don't think it's a bad choice for an Oscar win, but maybe not my first choice. But I think it was a great movie. My girlfriend loved it. My girlfriend loved it. So.
Which was your favorite picture of last year?
I don't know. It's hard to nail it down. My favorite movie I've seen in a long while is Honey Boy, though. Honey Boy was probably my favorite in a long time. Honey Boy was something special.
Thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we will take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
What year was Honey Boy? Honey Boy was last year, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey, Andre, I appreciate you taking the time as always. We've talked a lot about your run you're on, where you've had, a lot of big victories, but you've had a couple of kind of heartbreaking defeats in there where it's like really close fights and it's just kind of sticks with you. Even that Sadiq Youssef fight, obviously there were a couple of moments, couple of things go differently. You're walking away with a win instead of a loss. Like, how do you move past that, and how do you improve without reinventing the wheel to make sure that those kind of really close decisions don't happen in the future?
I think you just do more of the same, man. I think I'm on the right track. There's been a few hiccups, like, Sadiq's a great fighter. He's a good dude. I really like him, but I think that I won that fight. I definitely think I won the Michael Johnson fight. You take those two decisions and you turn them the right way. I'm on like a 5-fight streak or a 6-fight streak, so that's what I choose to focus on. I beat Miles Jury, who was a top 10, top 15 guy forever. I finished Shaman, who'd never been finished before. I beat Artem up. I beat a very tough Dennis Bermudez, who was a top 10 guy forever. I mean, in my head, I'm on like a 7-fight run, because I really believe that I won the two decisions in the last 5 or 6 fights that I've lost. I really believe I won those, and I'm a man. I would admit, like, I have lost fights. Like I have lost fights before, but those last two, I think that I won those. Even with Sadiq, like when I went back and watched the Sadiq fight, Sadiq hits me and snaps my head back, and the commentators talk about his power, and then I hit him and drop him, and then the commentators still talk about his power, and I'm like, wait, what are we? Like, I dropped him. Like, it has to count for something, right? Like, if we're talking about power, like, I hit him and my head snapped. He hit me and my head snapped back. I hit him, he took a knee. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I really think I won that fight. No disrespect to Sadiq. He's a gamer, man. He can crack. He's a great dude. But same thing with Michael Johnson fight. I think I won that as well. So when I look, I'm not ashamed of. I'm heartbroken about the losses, but I'm not ashamed about my performances, and I just think more of the same. I think I'm doing the right things. Just need to double down, triple down on them, quadruple. Double down.
This is a loaded question then to that point. Do you think the problem is more with the judging and what we're judging and scoring in fighting, especially in certain fights that you hear about afterwards? A lot of people saying, how do they score it that way? We see 30-27 scores where a fight clearly isn't a 30-27 or whatever. Like, maybe judging is the bigger problem in this sport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to place blame. Like, had I finished those fights, that we wouldn't leave it to the judges. But people don't really understand, like, we're the best fighters in the world. Like, we're going to be pretty evenly matched. It's not always going to be a knockout, like sometimes it will go to the judges, and having judges who are informed and know what they're looking at, or even at least have a more defined criteria, or a better criteria to score on, like a more agreed upon criteria, I think would be better. Holloway's idea had some pretty cool ideas about it. Even having a scorecard up, like where you hold people accountable, where it's like going into the second, the judges have to show who they have up for the first. That way going into the second. Like, you never see a basketball game where it's like a surprise in the fourth quarter what the points are. Everyone knows what the points are going into each quarter. Each minute of the game, we know what the points are. So, I think it'd be better even a small step forward, even holding judges accountable going into the second. Like, let's see the scoring for the first. Let's see who's up. Let's see who's up 10-9. I don't know. I think there's a lot of good options to be be weighed. The sport's so new, we're still kind of figuring it out. And I'm sure we'll come up with a good solution. But yeah, I think the judging could be better for sure. And again, judging depends on the commission, depends on state to state, depends on, there's so many variables, but people don't realize is, you can win a fight, the judges see it the wrong way, and then that's half your money. That's a life-changing thing to make half your money. So
Yeah.
I think changes in I think a change in judging is necessary.
Well, we've heard a lot of debate about that open scoring, what you're talking about with knowing the scores going into it. Even if it's a bad score, at least you'd know going into the third round. You have to get a finish. And the argument against it has been, well, if people know they're up 2 rounds or 4 rounds or whatever it may be, maybe they won't try to go out and finish. And the other argument is you'd rather know. If it's a bad decision, at least going into that third round that there's been 2 bad scores against you. Like, do you feel like that's the key? It's like, at least you'd know. So if you have to go, all out to try to get a finish, at least you'd know going into that third round.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's kind of dumb to say that if someone was up 2 rounds, they would coast. Like, that happens anyways. We've all seen someone be up 2 rounds and coast the third round, and it's not necessarily the worst idea. But I mean, it's not like we don't see it now, even though there's no scorecard. If someone's up 2 rounds clearly in their head and they think they're up 2 rounds, they coast the third. We see that already. We also see, I don't know. You're also locked in a cage with another guy who now he knows he's down 2 rounds. So I don't know. You can only coast so much in a fight. We're not fucking playing golf, we're not playing a non-contact sport. Like, you're locked in a cage with another guy. You can only coast so much. So I don't really think that showing the scorecard would be that big of a deal.
Awesome. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you, Andre. That is all the questions we had for you, sir. You are good to go.
Thank you.
And next up, we will be joined by UFC bantamweight Jourdain Espinosa. Okay, we now welcome UFC bantamweight Jourdain Espinosa. Jourdain, thank you for the time, sir.
Oh, no problem.
We will take the first question from Jay Anderson with Cageside Press.
Hey, thanks very much. And Jourdain, welcome back, first of all. I'm just wondering if you can give us an idea of what training camp has been like for you during the pandemic. I know a lot of fighters have, had trouble finding training partners or not able to go to their gyms. What have things been like for you?
Yeah, so for me, it wasn't that bad. I have 3 roommates that are all professional fighters, and we have a little gym area in our house in Albuquerque. So for about the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, I kind of was just sitting on my ass, not really doing anything. And then I was originally scheduled to fight June 13th in Kazakhstan. And even though I knew that it wasn't going to be in Kazakhstan anymore, I just figured I would still have a fight around that time. So about 6 to 8 weeks ago, I started training with my roommates. And then about a month ago, I flew out to Kansas City and I trained with the Glory MMA and James Krause's gym for a few weeks. And their stay-at-home orders were a little bit more lax than the ones in Albuquerque. So I've honestly been able to get some of the best training in during this pandemic, and I think it's going to show.
And like you said, you did have a change of opponent here with Mark De La Rosa coming in because of the travel restriction, obviously, for your previous opponent. How much of a change-up has it been preparing for Mark in this case?
Honestly, it hasn't been that bad. I was already, from my UFC debut back in November 2018, or what was supposed to be my debut, I was scheduled to fight Mark. So I already had a training camp for him a year and a half ago. And we've had some of the same opponents, and I'm very familiar with his style. So honestly, it was an easy transition.
And in terms of the venue here, I mean, you went through the Contender Series. You didn't fight in the Apex, but do you feel like this might be a little bit of familiar ground in terms of, in this case, there's no spectators really, but you've kind of been through it.
Yeah, compared to most of the other guys on the card, I definitely think it's going to be more familiar for me. I've fought on the Contender Series twice. The first time, in the first season, I was kind of nervous, wasn't sure what to expect. But the second time, I was so calm. Everything felt real relaxed, and I was so comfortable. And I expect this to go the same.
And last one for me, you are coming into this with a little bit of pressure on you, coming off a couple of losses. Is that something you try to tune out when preparing for this, or do you use that as fuel for the fire, so to speak?
No, it's definitely fuel. Honestly, given how I lost in my last two fights, I kind of thought I was going to get cut after the last fight. I'm glad I didn't. But it's definitely motivation. My opponent, he's coming in off of a 3-fight losing streak, so he has just as much pressure, if not more. So I think that makes for an exciting fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks very much for the time, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And we will take our next question from Zach Packleb with UFC.com.
Oh.
Yeah. So like you said, you feel that little bit more fire from, trying to get back from the last two fights. How do you go about channeling that in the right way so you don't come out too, over eager against Mark?
Yeah. The good thing about, the silver lining about having those two losses in a row and that them being first round stoppages or submissions is that I didn't get to really show what I was capable of. My opponent and my future opponents probably think I suck. They haven't got to see anything in my game except for maybe my lack of jiu-jitsu defense, but that's good for me. I still have a lot that I can show, and I feel like that keeps me dangerous in a sense. And it's not. I always feel like my job's never secure, so it's not like I'm ever super comfortable. It's not like I don't treat the fights the same. I'm coming into this fight like it's my final fight with UFC or potentially my final fight. But that's also how I came into my last and the ones before that.
And fighting a guy like Mark, he's been in the UFC for a few fights now. What about your matchup with him excites you? And what kind of questions do you think he'll ask of you that will allow you to show more of your skill set?
I mean, I just think the guys he's fought, he hasn't really fought guys that move like me. I think out of everyone in the 125-pound weight class, even though this is at 35, but everyone in that weight class, I have a speed advantage over. I have a movement advantage over. I'm a lot more mobile. I'm a lot more dynamic. I get in and out. And he hasn't fought anyone like that. He kind of fights the opposite. He'll pressure and kind of like bite down and throw. He has good jiu-jitsu, not so great wrestling. I'm strong in my wrestling. It doesn't seem like he has much power, but he's tough. He's willing to take a shot, to give a few. But I think where my strengths are, if I want to take him to the ground, I can. And if I want to keep it on the feet and frustrate him, I think I could do that too.
Like you said, you guys are two basically flyweights fighting at Bantam. Is there any kind of like physical luxury that comes with not having to cut that extra weight that you think you'll be able to feel in this fight?
Maybe not so much physical luxury. Well, like on a Thursday before weigh-in, I usually wouldn't be feeling this good. Physically, it's not too much of a advantage. I always felt good on fight night at 25s. I think I do the weight cut the right way. I think there hasn't been a day or a UFC fight yet where I felt like shit on fight night. But the psychological aspect of it, usually I come into fight week excited for the fight, but dreading the 4 days leading up to it, cutting weight. And so I've had none of that burden this week, and that's a huge just happiness and psychological unburdenment that I don't have this time.
Yeah. And last one for me. I saw on Instagram you posted you were playing Red Hot Chili Peppers on piano. Is that something you picked up during lockdown, or have you been playing on piano before that?
No, this is definitely something I picked up during during the quarantine. My girlfriend's been playing since she was like 4 years old, and so, but she didn't have a keyboard at her place, and I was basically staying with her. So I'm like, I'm gonna buy a keyboard. And one of my like 5-year goals, going back like 2 or 3 years already, was to learn an instrument and or get fluent at a second language. And so I've been practicing maybe 2 or 3 hours a day since I've gotten the keyboard. And so this is one of the steps of me just getting better at something else.
I get you. You got the Red Hot Chili Peppers down. Is there another song you have in the process?
I don't have that many songs down. In fact, I don't know and memorize them, but I can read music now, which is kind of cool. And so any song that has relatively easy notes to read, I can probably play.
It's like a another language in itself.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Cool, thank you.
Good stuff.
And we will take our next question from Mike Heck with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Jourdain, how's it going? One question I did have, and you did allude to it earlier, you training with James Krause and everybody over at Glory MMA. What was that experience like for you, and what were some of the different tools and different things you can implement in your game that you picked up over there?
It was great. I think a lot of the times it's just good to kind of get out of your same environment that you've been in for the past few years and just get some new bodies, get a different mind, pick their brain a little bit and get some of their techniques and also their mindset on how they approach the game. And it's also kind of cool to get it from somebody who's in the UFC and somebody who's doing it. Aside from that, it's a bunch of like-minded folks that are trying to work hard and trying to make the most out of a bad situation in the pandemic. It was cool because I think about the third day I got there, their stay-at-home order was lifted and I was able to train at the gym with a bunch of guys. There was a bunch of guys in there twice a day, and we were all getting good work in. And so I think that was really good for me because back home in Albuquerque, the gyms didn't open up to another 2 to 3 weeks later.
With the piano thing, last question for me, sometimes you need a little bit of a distraction, something else that you need to pick up on to sort of take away from fighting. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break from that. Do you feel like this is something that has sort of assisted you in that to take the pressure off this fight and just the sport in general?
A little bit. My main outlet for that is usually video games. Most people that know me know I spend way too much time playing video games probably. So this probably takes a bit of the time from that. But yeah, I feel like it's very important in life to have a hobby, have something outside of your job. Even though I do enjoy the gym and I really enjoy fighting, I think it's important to have something outside of that I also enjoy, that I can do whenever I want, and that makes me happy.
How do your roommates enjoy your musical talents?
Well, so luckily for them, the keyboard is at my girlfriend's house, and then my roommates, they just have to hear me playing video games.
Oh, there you go. All the best to you, Jourdain. Looking forward to the fight.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you, Jourdain. Those are all the questions we had for you, sir. You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
And next up, we will have the number 10 ranked UFC women's strawweight contender, Cynthia Calvillo. We now welcome the number 10 ranked UFC women's strawweight contender, Cynthia Calvillo. Cynthia, thank you for the time today.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will take our first question from Rodrigo Del Campo.
¿Cómo estás? Buen día.
Mucho gusto, bien, sí, buen día.
Oye, ¿cómo te sientes? Primera pelea en las 125 libras, obviamente, algunos ajustes, cambio de equipo, tuviste que pagar por el tema del COVID, ahora estás de regreso. ¿Cómo te sientes para la pelea?
Bueno, obviamente es un tiempo difícil para todo el mundo ahorita, pero estoy muy feliz de que ya se están comenzando a normalizar todas las cosas, todo el mundo, y pues me siento con mucha energía y pues mucha ansiedad para comenzar a pelear a este peso porque me siento más saludable y más fuerte.
Tenías una pelea complicada originalmente contra Antonina, pero ahora una pelea mejor en todos los aspectos, ¿no? Pelea estelar, la número uno del ranking, que es Jessica Ay. ¿Qué te puede dar una victoria ante Jessica en esta primera pelea en las 125 libras?
Bueno, esta pelea se va a significar bien, algo muy grande para mí, la pelea más grande de mi carrera. Yo creo que sí, cuando le gane a Jessica este sábado, me van a poner allí pues, junto a los nombres que van a estar cercas a pelear el título. Ojalá el top 5.
Una última pregunta de mi parte, Cynthia. ¿Quién va a estar en tu esquina este fin de semana? Nuevo equipo, pero obviamente varias restricciones. ¿Quién te va a acompañar en la esquina este fin de semana?
Este sábado me va a acompañar mi coach, Ron Kessler, y dos personas de mi equipo.
Perfecto, Cynthia. Muchísimas gracias y mucha suerte el sábado.
Gracias a usted.
And we will take the next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Cynthia, obviously this is a big opportunity in your first flyweight fight. You were going to fight Antonina Shevchenko, and now you're getting Jessica Ai in a main event. What was your reaction when you not only got the name, but also found out you're going to be in a main event in your flyweight debut?
Honestly, I was really excited. I was a bit surprised. It's one of those things where if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So I was wanting to get a fight lined up, hopefully more so, not in such a short notice, but in July because the gym had just gotten opened up again through this pandemic. And I was noticing that everybody was getting matched up, in the flyweight division. And I was like, man, especially at my fight had got canceled originally with Antonina. I was like, who's available? And there was only like 2 people available, and one of them happened to be Jessica Ai. So I shot my manager a message and I said, hey, does Jessica have anything lined up? She doesn't. I would love to fight her in July. And he's like, oh, let me check. And then they came back with, well, how about main event in 3 weeks? I'm like, holy crap. I was like, okay, yes. So it's just one of those opportunities you just do not say no to. So I'm really excited. I was surprised with the main event slot, but and even so, I know that it's like kind of a bit of a risk for Jessica Ai to, take a fight with somebody who's at a lower rank.
What does it say, though? I mean, not that the odds are going to tell you how the fight's going to play out, but the odds are very even going into this fight. I think it's literally a pick 'em. I mean, what does that say about you and your skill set that you bring into this, that you're facing the #1 ranked flyweight on your debut, and most people believe this is a toss-up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think people can see what both of our strengths are. She's very strong and fire and aggressive. I am as well. So I can see how people can think it's like, can go either way. And especially me coming up and, some people, respecting my skill, but also trying to maybe assume that I might be a little bit too small for the division. But I think this is a perfect weight division for me.
You've never ignored the weight cutting issues that you had at strawweight. Obviously, you had a lot of success at strawweight, but you did have those weight cutting issues. Now you are at flyweight. Kind of a 2-part question. How much better do you feel that you're not, going through a weight cut right now, or at least as severe as a weight cut? And do you feel like flyweight will be your permanent home, at least for the foreseeable future?
Well, I feel great. I mean, I'm able to eat and actually supplement my body correctly while I'm pushing hard through these training sessions, and I felt like whenever I would fight at strawweight, I would be trying to force myself to walk around a lot lighter. And it was very difficult for me because towards maybe the 2-3 weeks going left in the camp, I feel weak. My confidence kind of goes low because I feel like normally my training partners that don't push me around can push me around, and it doesn't feel that way at flyweight. At flyweight, I can push hard all the way to the end of fight camp. So I'm definitely planning to stay here for a very long time. I will, of course, though, go back for the right fight. I will definitely drop down to strawweight if the right fight presents itself. But for now, flyweight's my new home.
And last question for me. I know you've had bit of switching and training. You previously had worked with Justin Buchholz and worked a little bit with Team Alpha Male, worked in Sacramento. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you were working at AKA, right, for this camp?
Correct. I went back home to my hometown, San Jose, California. I was born and raised, and I get to spend time with my family, and I get to train at one of the best gyms in the world. So it was a no-brainer to go back there and train there, especially during these difficult times.
So how much did it mean working? I mean, that gym is phenomenal when you think about, obviously Javier Mendez, Daniel Cormier is a coach there, tons of great fighters. I mean, how much did that add for you going into what we have to imagine is the biggest fight of your career against, the #1 ranked flyweight?
Yeah, I mean, it was great, but it's also a little bit different because the gym is closed, so I don't really get to see a lot of the people there. Unfortunately, right now, it's not like Florida. I know a lot of the teams over there are just running like normal, or some of the gyms, and in San Jose, it's been very restrictive. So at the beginning, when I was first started going before the pandemic, I was able to hang around and be around DC, and even Khabib was in his training camp, and the atmosphere was it was amazing. But this time around, these last couple of weeks have been a little bit more intimate, so I haven't been able to like hang around those guys too much during this fight camp.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will take our next question from Carlos Contreras with Milenio Diario.
Hola, Cynthia, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, muy bien. ¿Cómo está usted?
Pues quería preguntarte qué se siente ser estelar en un evento como este. Obviamente fue una sorpresa, muy poco aviso, pero mucha gente te va a ver y es una oportunidad muy grande de demostrar que puedes ser un aspirante a pelear por el título en esta nueva división, ¿no?
Sí, no, es un sueño, de verdad. Tuve mi última pelea fue muy dificultada con el peso y no la había ganado, fue un draw y pues no esperé agarrar una oportunidad así, especialmente subiendo de peso, pero ya que estoy aquí estoy bien feliz, bien emocionada y no puedo esperar para este sábado.
Aunque son strikers muy diferentes, tanto Antonina como Jessica basan mucho su pelea en el combate de pie. Obviamente tienes mucha ventaja en la lucha, pero ¿estás dispuesta también, si es necesario, a intercambiar con Jessica arriba?
Sí, claro que sí. Lo que me gusta de esta pelea, ella no va a estar tan más alta que yo. Creo que con Antonina es una peleadora que pelea Southpaw y es bien alta. Entonces el nivel de estilo de pie era muy diferente. Yo creo que con Jessica voy a poder entretener la pelea en pie, pero obviamente lo voy a querer bajar al suelo para terminarlo más pronto.
Llegaste a estar muy arriba en tu división anterior en el ranking, e incluso pensábamos que tal vez era una pelea de pelear por el título, y esta oportunidad no pudo ser mejor, ¿no? Porque vas a pelear contra la #1 del ranking y una victoria pues te daría la oportunidad de pedir a Valentina, pedir una oportunidad al título acá en tu primera pelea de la división.
Sí, no, pues sí, como le digo, estoy sorprendida, pero estoy muy, muy feliz de que pude cambiar de división y subir y más o menos seguir de donde dejé en otra división, exactamente como los rankings. Me había quedado ahí como los 10, en el ranking número 10. Subí a un tiempo a número 6, entonces regresar ahí más o menos es donde quiero estar y yo creo que merezco estar ahí. Entonces con esta pelea voy a llegar aquí en esta división.
Finalmente, Cynthia, quiero preguntarte cómo te ha recibido American Kickboxing Academy, a.k.a. Con Javier Méndez y todos los mexicanos que están por allá, que seguramente ya pudiste platicar con algunos.
Sí, no, pues allí es donde son mis raíces, que nací allí en San José, California. Hay muchos mexicanos, americanos y pues todos los conocemos. Entonces cuando sabían que iba a regresar, todos estaban felices, apoyándome y pues todo está sirviendo muy bien. Creo que hice el choice correcto.
Gracias, Cynthia. Buena pelea.
Gracias.
And we will take our next question from Ron Kruk with the final round.
Hey, Cynthia, thank you so much for the time. Pat Miletich and I called your one and only fight in the LFA, Cynthia. I'd quickly like to talk about your time in that organization. You get the one win in the LFA, and the UFC comes calling quickly and signs you. Could you talk about how that fight in the LFA helped prepare you for the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. LFA, I think that was their first show when they were combined. They're originally RFA and Legacy. So we always knew that that was like a stage for like, a UFC feeder. Some of the best fought there before getting into the UFC. So I knew that if I made a good showcasing for that one, that I would be under the UFC's radar.
And you certainly were. It was only your third professional bout. You earned the TKO win over Montana De La Rosa. And as I said, signed immediately after by the UFC. What do you remember about that fight against De La Rosa?
I was really excited. I think I was just overall, I'm a very confident person because of, the team and the training partners that I have or had at the time too. They're all high level. And so, I went in there with, I don't know, it was great. It was great to be able to fight someone, with a good wrestling base. I knew she was an amazing fighter as well. She was going to be tough. And I just, honestly, I'm just really happy. It's really a dream. Anytime I get to experience or be a part of something like this, I never would have imagined in my life that I would ever reach this level. So for me, I was excited and that I was able to showcase. Like, it's still like, I still can't believe it that I get paid to like beat people up. So.
It's been a cool and fun journey to watch. One quick question about the main event as we look at this fight. Where do you feel you have the biggest advantage in this bout with Jessica?
I think for sure, my biggest advantage against anybody would be my ground game. But I think overall, because I'm not going to have such a harsh weight cut, especially it being short notice, I'm going to, have the endurance. I'm going to have the speed. I feel like I'm going to be more athletic. So, I'm going to be able to keep up the same pace.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
And we will take the next question from Alfredo Bush with Clara Sports.
Hola, hola, ¿me escuchas?
Sí, lo escucho bien.
Perfecto, qué bueno. Oye, para preguntarte acerca de qué tan acostumbrada estás a la división. Es decir, una cosa es que cambies, que vayas hacia arriba, pero qué tan acostumbrada estás a poder pelear en 125.
No, pues yo comencé en mis días de amateur, peleé unas peleas a 135 y luego las demás fueron a 125. Ya después cuando hice mi primer pelea de debut de profesional, peleé una a 125 y luego bajé a 120 porque a ese tiempo no había la división de 125 en el UFC. Entonces dije, pues voy a tener que hacer así más, obviamente más estricto con la dieta y pues me sentía un poquito más débil, pero dije, voy a hacerlo porque es la única división y mi último goal es llegar al UFC. Entonces, la segunda pelea fue a 120, la tercera a 115 y luego entré al UFC. Entonces, ya después de muchos tiempos y ya que me ha sido difícil tratar de seguir peleando ahí, creo que es tiempo para regresar donde yo creo que merezco, yo tengo que pelear a 125 porque el 115 era muy difícil para mí para cortar ese peso.
Y justamente el que te sientas mejor ahí, que tengas más fortaleza en ese aspecto, incluso mentalmente, ¿qué tanto te da una ventaja sobre Jessica en este caso para la pelea de este fin de semana?
Sí, pues es una ventaja grande porque cuando unos cortan mucho peso, tienen miedo que a lo mejor se van a cansar o le va a afectar en la pelea. Y pues es algo que yo no me voy a tener que preocupar. Voy a poder pelear, 5 rounds fuerte, porque igual como si fuera otro día de entrenamiento. No voy a estar sufriendo. Esta semana he comido muy bien, entonces me siento mucho más mejor y creo que esto es lo que me va a ayudar más a mí.
La última de mi parte, el cambiar, el que te llegue todo de repente, ¿no? En medio de la pandemia, pero que tengas un main event y que además sea una pelea que no sea de 3, sino de 5 rounds. ¿Cómo te hace sentir que además el UFC haya pensado en ti para decir, bueno, no importa, vamos a ponerla en esta contienda?
Bueno, es una oportunidad que no puedes, que tienes que tomar. No lo puedo negar. Yo al principio quería pelear en julio porque especialmente durante el pandemic se habían cerrado los gimnasios, pero ya que los abrieron y pues yo estuve entrenando afuera del gimnasio para estar lista en caso de cuando abrieran, pero no, la verdad, yo estoy bien emocionada y feliz. Yo creo que sí es algo que vamos a tomar, que es algo de que es 5 rounds en vez de 3 rounds, pero ella está en el mismo lugar que yo. No es como si estoy yendo contra alguien que no está yendo por un pandemia que no le ha afectado a ella, porque yo sé que también también le cerraron el gym. Ella no sabía, no tuvo mucho tiempo para entrenar, entonces todos estamos como pues en el mismo lugar tratando de hacerlo mejor en este tiempo.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, que te vaya muy bien.
Sí, gracias a usted.
And we will take our next question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
Hi, Cynthia. Quick question. Training out of AKA, do you know if Daniel Cormier is commentating this week?
I'm not sure. I don't think he is, but I'm not sure.
I ask because with no fans, people have talked about, oh, they can hear Cormier, he's the cheat code and everything else. I would ask you, would you
had an extra corner there?
I was gonna say, if he was, or do you feel like you would take advantage of that to kind of listen out for him if that were the case?
Well, I'm going to be listening to everybody. I'm going to listen to commentators. I'm going to listen to her team so I know what the heck is coming, but obviously, and it's funny because I've actually, that's something that I've done in other previous fights. I mean, I've never fought when there was no crowd, but obviously at a smaller venue, and I can hear their corners. So I remember just almost listening to their corner, knowing what's going to come before, listening to my corner. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like. I think it's going to be a game changer for sure.
Can you talk about your personal experience this week? Obviously, you go through all the things, the testing, they have you isolated. Can you just talk about how that's been for you personally and just the mood?
I mean, it's been honestly very different from other fight weeks, that's for sure. Especially here in Vegas. I don't think I've ever seen Vegas, so down. It's always so vibrant, people everywhere going crazy. So it's definitely been more chilled out, more security. So we're taking extra precautions. The UFC's been doing a great job to make sure that we're taking care of and that we're safe, and we don't got people coming in and out. And it's been going great so far. We're dealing with it the best way we can. I'm so happy that that we're able to come back, especially during this time. I know a lot of people can't work, so I'm extremely happy that the UFC's been able to make this happen.
You've talked about your experience against now current UFC flyweights in the past, and I want to ask you about one of them because Joanne Calderwood, who's going to be fighting for the title. I mean, this is now your division. How do you see that fight going with JoJo and Valentina?
I mean, I think it's gonna be a lot closer than what most people think. I feel like Joanne Calderwood has made a lot of improvements since moving here to Vegas, and I think it's gonna be definitely a more difficult fight for Valentina. But right now, I really don't see anybody giving her, a tough time right now as far as the top 5.
As an athlete, this isn't a big fight, obviously, former title challenger, main event on ESPN. You win this one, it's very easy to be like, hey, it's not a deep pool for Valentina, right? How do you, as the athlete, stay focused, make sure you're treating Jessica Eye with the respect she needs, and not get too ahead of yourself when you know the situation in flyweight?
Yeah, I never look ahead. I mean, ahead of what my, opponent. For me, whoever I'm fighting, they're going to be, the toughest opponent that I have to date. I don't look past that at all. I understand that she's the #1 ranked fighter and where this could take me. But, I'm a fighter. This is what I'm here for. But I never look past my opponents. Right now, the only thing I'm worried about is Jessica Eye.
Perfect scenario. Get a big victory on Saturday night. Some parts of Vegas are opening up, some have not. Have you thought about how you would celebrate if you can?
Sorry, what?
Have you thought about how you would celebrate if you can?
Oh, how I would celebrate if I don't know. I'll still probably like eat pizza or something. So hopefully I could still find pizza after my fight. That's always like my main thing, pizza and gummy bears.
What are the toppings for your pizza? What's the post-fight pizza look like?
I'm sorry. Oh, I can do like pepperoni with pineapple and jalapenos.
It sounds good.
That's pretty good.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. That is all the questions we had for you. You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
And next up, we will be joined by UFC middleweight Marvin Vettori. We now welcome UFC middleweight Marvin Vettori. Marvin, thank you for the time today, sir.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for having me, guys. I thought I was watching the computer. No, I'm just going to watch this. Okay.
Yeah, straight ahead is fine. Thank you so much. We will take the first question from Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Hey, thanks very much, Marvin. And welcome back. First of all, I think the big question is obviously with the opponent in this fight being booked again, did you have any concern taking this fight against Roberson again?
I did have some concern in the beginning because I'm like, he didn't make weight. He was claiming to be so unwell the month ago and didn't make weight with all the time that he had. I'm like, what is it going to change in a month? But we make it this far. Now he better step into the cage Saturday. So I did have, he's here. I fucking hope the guy's going to show up.
Fingers crossed, of course. We spoke to him earlier, and he said all the anger on this one is one-sided. Are you still angry with him? Are you past that?
I'm gonna make him pay. That's all it is. I'm gonna make him pay, and like, yeah, I take the fact that he messed with my life, with my coach's life. With my team life for a month of life, kind of personal, But at the end of the day, the worst thing that I can do to him is to beat him in a dominant fashion and finish him. So that's what I will do.
And I mean, if nothing else, now you've actually got the co-main event slot this weekend. So how does that feel?
Feels great. I mean, got my eyes on me, and hell yeah, like from here we just build it up more and more, and let's go.
You weighed in at the card after the original booking at 205 pounds as a backup. Is that something that you pitched to the UFC? Did they ask you to do that? How did that come about?
No, it was all me, and they said, well, if you're gonna be a backup, you have to weigh in at some point, so we know your weight, and you will have like a set, like a how do you call it, like you'll have a weight that you can where you can fight at least. I know there wasn't any 205er in the car, but I was like, well, there are two 185 fight, two middleweight fights. If anything falls off over there, and they still want to fight, I could be a replacement if they really weigh in at 205, which is not hard for them. And that's why I did it. Or if by miracle some 205 wanted to step in, I'm like, let's do it. But I knew there wasn't that many chances, so it was all me. I wanted it to do it. I was like, since I'm here, like I'm gonna try everything to fight.
Well, you're definitely a game fighter. Last thing I want to ask you, though, is on a little more serious note. Italy was very hard hit by the coronavirus, obviously, and things are looking better now, thankfully. But what has it been like just training and preparing while seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. I was reading the news every day. All my family's there, and but nobody's been like, nobody on my close family got affected by it. And I mean, yeah, it wasn't easy, but I mean, now they wiped it off. They killed the economy, but they wiped it off, and they're in a better situation than here actually in terms of like how many how many people are affected and how many deaths are going on. Like my region, it's been over like a week now that there hasn't been any new contagious person.
All right, well, that's good to hear, and I wish you best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, man.
And we'll take the next question from Georgi Kokiashvili with Adyara Sport.
Hello, Marvin. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, friend. We had a little touch back in April, and you said to me that you are ready to fight Antonio Carlos Jr. on a rematch. And who would you like to face afterwards in a case of a win in this fight?
Well, I really wanted to fight this Ian Haney's guy, but he's doing everything to not fight me. I mean, he's, like the fact that he accepted another fight, I can't blame him for that. He did not accept me a while ago, but now that he just accepted another fight and short notice, I can't blame him. Like, I mean, whatever. But I don't know, man. Like, fuck, any top 15 guy, let's do it. Like Carlos Jr. would be a guy that I wanted to fight. Because I'll revenge my loss early on in my career. I think now I would like just murder the guy, and that could be an option. But anybody else also, man, I don't care. I really don't care. Just give me some name and let me keep climbing the rankings and make it to a title shot.
Thank you. And my second question is, you are making a comeback to the octagon after a long layoff. And how have you been preparing for this fight? Have you been doing anything specific or different?
Not really. Just keep improving my game. I train a lot of boxing with a new boxing coach, Julian Chua. And I mean, yeah, if you think about it, it's kind of like a long layoff, but I've always been ready to go. I mean, I was supposed to fight in March. That was already kind of a long layoff from October last year. I've always been ready though. Like, I mean, mentally, I didn't take no layoff. Like, I was like always ready from. Yeah, I mean, so not much different. Just keep improving my game, and no, I just feel like I'm much sharper and much more like a sniper now with my offense.
Oh, and my last question is about does this fight become too personal for you? Because we saw a few clips from Hotel, and you were so furious, as I can say. And does this fight become too serious and too personal for you?
Well, like I said before, like it's personal because it messed with my team and myself and stuff. But all I need to know and all the what gives me like let's say calm, it's that I'm gonna make him pay Saturday. That's all I need to know. I mean, he just needs to step into that cage. That's all I want.
Thank you so much. Wish you all the best, and Georgians are with you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
We will take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Marvin, hey Marvin, I feel like we've had this conversation a couple times now, unfortunately, but you've had honestly one of the toughest couple of months here, you know, going over from March with London and then rescheduled in May and now rescheduled in June. Obviously, you're hoping the fight happens, everything goes down on Saturday night, but can you kind of give me an idea, like what the emotion, what has this past few months been like for you as you just had these constant stutter stops of trying to get a fight?
I mean, I just get stronger mentally too, man. Like I just get stronger. Like whatever you throw at me, like it might piss me off in the beginning because it pissed me off because I know I'm not gonna give up, and I know like I'm not gonna let myself off the hook. So I'll know the suffering I'll go through, and so I'm like, fuck, I gotta do it again. But I know there was never like a quitting moment in my mind where I'm like I'm gonna just step out of this. I get pissed because I'm like, fuck, I have to do all these extra work for something that is not my fault. But there was never like a moment where I'm not gonna do this extra work. So as things comes up, I'm gonna face them. It's gonna be, I'll be pissed. I can work on that, just like not getting. But I mean, like, you know, like you're gonna fuck with me, like you're gonna pull out a day off, you're gonna get a reaction, man. If I see you, you're gonna get a reaction. I'm not gonna just shut up. And that's something that, okay, like I don't regret doing, you know, like especially when he's squared up at me and stuff like that. But we're going a little bit off topic. But what I'm saying, it's been hard, but I raised to the occasion, and like I always do. Like I just went through and did it. That's it. I mean, and honestly, like we did a great job, and I feel the best at this time now. So we did a great job on that.
I know that a lot of people have talked about the hotel incident, and you mentioned, you know, when you pull out on the day of the fight, you're going to get a reaction out of you. But have you ever had that much animosity, you know, with an opponent before, or anything close to what you have or had, I guess, with Karl Roberson after that whole incident?
Because I didn't have the luck. I wanted to do that with Andrew Sanchez last time when he pulled out 3 days before the fight, but I didn't get to see him in the lobby. Now this happened many times, but never so many, not so many. So. No, because he pulled out a day off, and I got to see him, which was great, and it's just like I just flipped.
You know, they say emotion can be good or bad at a fight. Some fighters feed off emotion and it helps them fight. Other fighters say, you know, it can actually burn you out and negatively affect you. How do you use emotion? Because it seems like you clearly don't have a lot of, you don't enjoy Karl Roberson. You're not a big fan of everything that happened, but like, can you shut that down, or do you feed off that emotion going into a fight like this?
I'll feed on emotion. Hell yeah. But the thing is, like, there's different ways of feeding. Like, there are ways of, like, I know I can dig deeper, and like on hard times I'll have that on my back, because I know, like, it's almost like I see it as like wood, put it on the side, ready to be fired up at the right time. You know, you want me, because like I said before, the worst thing I can do to him is to beat him up as bad as I can in a dominant fashion and stop him. So what? Like I go out, I go fucking swinging, like I forget all my technique, and I just give him a chance, and then what? Maybe like I like, you know, like I put up a bad performance, and then what? What did I do to him? Nothing. So I'm smart on that. Absolutely. You know, like I'm not stupid.
And last question, Marvin. I know you've been desperately trying to get those top 15 opponents so you can work your way up towards the title shot. I know the eventual, you know, idea of getting that rematch with Israel Adesanya. But at this point, considering everything you had to do just to get here and fight a guy like Karl Roberson, if everything goes well on Saturday night, are you keeping that kind of like that Gilbert Burns mindset where you're just like, feed me opponents, I'll fight whoever I want to stay busy? Or do you have to be more calculated and say, you know, I want to start getting those top 10, top 15 guys?
No. I mean, I'll keep that Gilbert Burns mentality. Maybe. I don't know. Because it's tough, because I might need a little bit of time off. But we'll see. But I'll keep that mentality, but I won't let nobody step over me, you know, anymore. Like, I'll be like, no, man, like, I'll be like this, like, give me any guy, but it has to be in the top 15, because yes, I deserve it, and I'm on a mission, and the mission requires for me to climb the rankings. And so I'll be ready very soon, but I won't just be like whoever.
Thanks, Marvin.
Thank you very much, Damon.
And we will take our last set of questions from Augusto German Niez-Gay with Somos MMA.
Marvin, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You just said it. You have been training for a fight for 5 months. You had to cut weight 1 month ago. So does the reschedule affect you in any way? How are you feeling?
Affected me, you said? If the
reschedule affect you in any way?
No, I have the best nutritionist in the game. You know, it's Matteo Capodaglio with his Capo Nutrition. He's been with me for a long time. He knows me very well. We've been able to manage all this pretty good, and I feel good, man. I feel good now. I mean, today we have to go through the wake up, but nothing has been different than the other times, and I feel great. And even throughout this week, I felt with great energy. Like, you know, like I show up, man. That's what I do. I get the job fucking done, you know. So again, I'll do it again.
Sure. Talking about the fight, what do you need to be careful about Roberson's skills?
It's about me. It's about like going out and not making mistakes. Just do what I do best, which is fighting, and that's it. Like there is nothing that he can take from me if I don't give him. You know, that's what it is. I'm better than him anywhere. I will respect him because he's not a bum, but he's not on my level either. So I'll go out and just pick him apart, minute after minute.
Okay, and now talking about you, you are a powerful striker. You have very good wrestling. So do you think that the smaller cage is something that you can take advantage of?
I like smaller cage. Being a pressure fighter, I like it. I like it, definitely. In general, yeah. Even just for the striking, I like the smaller.
Great, and the last one from me. Your last face-off was a very heated one. Both of you yelled things to each other. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow when you see him again?
I'll be. I don't even know. We'll see there. But all I want is for him to be fine and just step into that fucking cage. I don't. If it miss weight, I don't even care. Just don't miss weight and then don't fucking show up. Like just do whatever you want. Just show up Saturday.
You just want to fight with him.
I just want to fight it first of all, and then with him. Second of all, we need to put an end to this.
All right. Thank you very much, Marvin. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much, guys.
Perfect, Marvin. Thank you, sir. Those are all the questions we had. You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And next up, we will be joined by UFC featherweight Charles Jourdain. We now welcome UFC featherweight Charles Jourdain. Charles, thank you for the time today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
We will take the first question from Nolan King with USA Today.
Okay.
Hey, Charles, I appreciate the time today, man. Looking over your record, I believe this is the first time that you've had the chance to compete in the United States in the fight capital of the world. Does this one feel a little extra special, maybe checking some items off the bucket list?
Yeah, it is. I always wanted to fight in Vegas. This is a dream coming true. Of course, the circumstances make it like a little special, to be honest, but I love it. The way the UFC are treating us, I almost feel uncomfortable. Like I feel treated as a king. And for me, I always see myself as a conqueror, not as a king yet. So yeah, it's special.
And coming into this one, taking you back to your last fight, in the build up to that one, you were coming off a loss. You might have felt like your back was up against the wall a little. Coming into this one, you're coming off a big win. Does it feel any different? Are you more confident coming into this week, or do you feel like you have to still stay, razor focused and not ride too high?
I need to stay sharp. I need to stay very focused because my mentality going into the duo Choi fight was like a do or die mentality straight up. But I need to keep that mentality because that's what helped me perform. So I'm not saying, okay, my name is written in UFC. I got fight of the night. I'm someone now. I don't sit on that. I need to prove. I need to still prove the world who I am, and I need to prove that it's not because I'm fighting the number 18 in the world at featherweight in my second fight at featherweight. It's a good thing for me. So I need to prove everybody that I'm going with the pedal to the metal, straight for the win.
And Andre Fili is a guy that's been around for quite some time. When you were coming up through the regional scene, was he a guy that you watched? Were you familiar with him?
Oh, of course, man. I've been YouTube has been one of my greatest teachers. So watching those guys from Alpha Male, Uriah Faber, TJ Dillashaw, Cody, all those guys, I've always been a big fan of their team, their way they do things. So it's gonna be weird. I haven't seen him yet, and personally, but it's gonna be weird. Like when I fought Duo Choi, having him in front of me in the cage, I was like, oh my God, that was when he fought Gobson, I was one of his biggest fans and this and that. So yeah, it's gonna be special.
And fighting a guy like that, what kind of opportunity do you think you have here? I see a lot of conversation online saying, this upcoming card has a lot of, fresher faces, maybe not a ton of guys with ranked numbers next to their name. Do you feel like you have an opportunity here to really steal the show?
Yeah, 100%. When I saw the card, of course there are, because sometimes people expect like these type of cards saying, oh, they're going to be boring, but sometimes this is where you see some diamond in the rough. So I think I'm one of those, and I think it's a great opportunity for me to prove my worth. Yeah, straight up, I think no matter how big or how small the card is, I'm just ready to prove to the world who I am.
For sure. And my last question for you, if you go out there and you get it done on Saturday, where do you think a win will put you in the division? You think you'll end up with a ranking next to your name on Monday?
That would be amazing. I would love to be a top 15, but I'm not pressed for that. Like I said, I'm a conqueror. I'm not ready to be the king yet. I don't have the tools to beat those top 5 guys yet. And it's like humble way to say that I need to keep my focus and keep working hard, because when I'm seeing those guys fight the top 5, even top 10, even top 15, those guys are super dangerous. So I'm not pressed. I'm gonna conquer one fight at a time.
Appreciate the time, Charles. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we will take the next question from Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Hey, thanks very much. And Charles, first of all, I wanted to ask, Quebec has more than half of Canada's COVID-19 cases. It's been pretty hard hit, even worse here than in Ontario, where I'm at. So I'm just wondering what the mood's been like there and how that's kind of impacted your camp.
Of course, it impacted the camp in a way that I didn't have full gyms. I had one gym where it was okay for me to train at, but for most of my camp, I've been training outside with my brother, like literally wrestling in the grass, doing jiu-jitsu in the grass, sprinting outside. It was something very fun for me to do. And some fighters like say I prefer air conditioning, tatami mats, and this and that. But me, I like too much my sport to stop doing it because of the current situation. So me and my brother find ways to train. And then Fabio Olanda, my jiu-jitsu coach, steps in and found us a place with some guys who were negative, and we worked really hard. And I have no excuse after this fight. I'm not going to say, oh, the whole pandemic thing, I didn't have a proper training camp, I didn't have this. I'm not a complainer, man. I did the best I could do with the current situation.
And this is going to be a different kind of fight because it's coming in an empty venue. And we've heard a lot of fighters actually say they prefer that. What are your thoughts on it?
For me, I'm a performer. Like I'm not basing my style on what people's like, but I'm kind of blessed that my style, people like it. I always finish my fight. I'm flashy. I love it, and I'm fighting the way I want to fight. Plus, it pleases the crowd. So, of course, I love it when the arena is full. But it's gonna be something special. I like throwing kicks a lot, and there's something like pure when you kick someone or you punch someone, you can hear that little noise. So I can't wait to perform under these circumstances without no crowd cheering, just nothing, and I'm gonna hear what his crowd. I'm gonna hear what his corner is saying, and he's gonna hear what my corner is saying. Hopefully, my guys keep speaking in French, and we don't know what I'm about to do. But yeah, it's gonna be special.
When we spoke to Andre earlier, he was asked what he has to watch out for from you, and he mentioned, you're a guy who likes to spam flying knees. What do you have to watch out for from him?
Level change and traps. I don't think his wrestling is that good, but it's all about timing. And Andre Fili's timing is second to none, I think, in the featherweight division in the takedown. Like, it's not forcing them. He's just always timing it perfectly. So me being the unexperienced fighter against him, this is something that's probably going to work in his favor. So he's going to lay some traps here and there, and it's my job to stay vigilant and not. I need to be wild. I need to be me to win. I lost against Desmond Green because I said I'm going to fight like a UFC fighter. I'm going to be prudent. I fought like someone I was not. That's why I lost. So I'm not doing the same mistake twice. So I'm going to stay me. More sharp. My jiu-jitsu has improved so much. I've been getting my ass kicked at the Montreal Wrestling Club by these super Olympic wrestlers, and yeah, I can't wait to show my improvements.
You did take the Green fight at lightweight. Is there any plan at any point? Because a lot of people have been going up in weight during the pandemic. Are you just staying the course with featherweight?
Oh yeah, of course. Featherweight is my weight. I walk around 156. When they called me for the Desmond Green fight, I was 152 or 153. I'm a small guy. I don't have that man muscle yet, but I'm getting bigger. I like it.
And last one for me, we saw Felicia Spencer fight last week and obviously didn't go her way, but you're another young Canadian star in the UFC now. What's that kind of feel like to be at the front of that wave?
Total motivation. When I saw Felicia work her way through the rankings, she fought Cyborg, she fought Amanda Nunes, and she got big hits from these fighters. And when Amanda Nunes or Chris Cyborg hits you, most of the time girls would go down, and she didn't. So it was something I was excited about, and I'm very proud to be Canadian and very proud that she represented us the way she did. Even though she didn't get the results she wanted, people now know Felicia, and they know you can take out that girl. She's a fighter.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we will take our next question from Zach Pakleb with UFC.com.
Yes, sir. Oh.
Yeah, so I give you a little bit.
I keep looking at the camera?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you talked a little bit about how exciting it was to get that first UFC. How much of almost like a relief it was to, especially after losing your debut, to get that over a guy that, like you said, you've been watching for a while?
Getting that win was enormous for me because, like I said, I was in a do or die situation. I feel like if I would have lost this one, maybe the UFC would have said, "Oh, okay, maybe that two-weight world champion from Canada was just hype," and I wanted to prove that I was not. And yeah, when like it's easy to get. Some people say it's easy to get to the UFC. It's harder to stay in the UFC. So I 100% agree with that. And I was like, yeah, I made it to the UFC. Then I got my first loss, and I'm like, if I'm losing this one, I'm out. So the relief of pressure was enormous. Plus that 50 Gs helped a lot.
I'm sure. So obviously, Andre Fili, like you said, another veteran, a guy who's been around.
Yeah.
And he's well-rounded. So what about him allows, like, what kind of statement are you excited to be able to make because of the skill set Andre Fili has?
The statement will be simple. It's my second fight at featherweight. He's the number 18 in the world, so it's a big step up for me. I'm not taking any shortcuts. I'm fighting the best of the best, and I like it this way. And yeah, I think if you look at my records, Duo Choi, then Andre Fili with a W next to both of these names, I mean, how can you not agree that I'm coming for the goal at some point? So yeah, I'm excited, really.
Those will be two big names, but you said earlier, you're not in a rush to get up to the top 5. Where does that patient approach come from?
It comes with the humbleness of looking at my skill set and looking at other fighters' skill set. I'm kind of intimidated by all those guys in the top 15, which is a normal thing, and I'm being real about it. And if you know you're weak at some point, you know you can get stronger. So I'm not gonna be out there saying I can beat everybody in the world. I would love to fight everybody in the world, but for my skill set, I need to improve. I need to stay sharp. I need to stay focused.
Was that something you learned along the way, or has that always been like that humbleness has always been part of you?
It's always been part of me, and I've always been super respectful, super real. At the end of the day, if I'm fighting someone who terrorized me, I was open. Like at the end of the interview, I against my fight against Alex Morgan, he was like the best Canadian out there, and I finished him in 1 round. And I openly said that at some point, some nights, I was crying because I was terrified fighting someone like him. So I'm not taking any pride in saying I'm crying, but I'm just being real. Like that's how much pressure I'm putting on my shoulder just to make sure I perform the best I can.
So how do you get through that mental intimidation? It seems like you're very accepting of it. So what's that process like as you work through that to get to the cage and perform as well as you do?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you get through the intimidation, the fear factor, to perform as well as you do once you get inside the ring?
I'm always creating an image of my opponent, my enemy, like so much bigger than they actually are, and I will keep on doing that. Like when I was fighting anybody, I'm always almost having nightmares of it because my mind is creating a monster who's fighting against me, and then as soon as I get hit by them, I'm like, okay, he's a human. I can hit him. I can, like when I knocked down Duo Choi at the end of the first, I'm like, okay, you knocked me down, but I can knock you down also. So you're a human after all. So I'm creating those big, like disgusting image of my opponent, and then I manage to overcome it. So I'm like I said, I'm terrified of Fili. I admit it, I'm terrified of him, but as soon as we get into the ring, I'm gonna have him in the clinch, and I don't know, we'll see. I'm scared, but I love it.
Obviously, you have multiple fights under your belt at this point. Going through that process.
Yeah.
What was that like early in your career?
Same thing. The fight that I performed the best were the fights that I was terrorized. I was putting all that pressure on myself. The first time I fought professionally was actually in Thailand, in like a small place with dogs walking around, like nothing sanitary. And I fought a guy who was like 30, 40 pounds bigger than me, and I knocked him out, and I was so scared, but I performed under that pressure. So it's important to be scared, it's important to be stressed, and it's important to embrace it so you can use it as a weapon.
And the last thing for me, like, again, there's unique circumstances around this fight. There's not going to be a crowd or anything. But as you're walking to the octagon, without the crowd cheering and that whole process, what's going to be going through your head as you go through, get your prep point stuff done and walk into the cage?
I cannot predict it because it's the first time for me. I always fight it in front of big crowds. When I was fighting in Canada, I was always main event, co-main event. I was always like the headline guy, so always big crowds. So yeah, it's going to be special. Like I said, when we're going to fight, if I hit him and I hear that little pop, the noise, this is for me, this is like a very good feeling when I feel my shin connect to someone, plus the little snap. There's something violent, there's something pure about it that I truly enjoy. So yeah, it's going to be a first for me, but I think I might enjoy it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Charles. That is all the questions we had for you, sir. You are good to go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the time. And next up, we will be joined by UFC bantamweight Mark De La Rosa. We now welcome UFC bantamweight Mark De La Rosa. Mark, thank you for the time today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
We will kick things off with Nolan King from USA Today.
Awesome.
Hey, Mark. Appreciate the time today, man. Coming into this fight, maybe a little bit of a different feel than the last couple of fights. The world's in a different place. You'll be fighting in an empty arena. Talk to me about how you're feeling coming into this one.
Man, I'm feeling hungry. All this time off, being stuck at home, and now being able to train and stuff. I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be able to compete, come to Vegas, and showcase my skills.
For sure, man. And we talked to your opponent, Jourdain Espinosa, a little while ago, and he said that after back-to-back losses for him, he thought that he was going to be cut after his last fight. You're coming off 3 losses. Did you kind of have that same scare after you suffered the last loss?
No, not really. Like I said, I train hard. I don't really backlash the company. I've done a lot of favors for the company, taking short notice fights. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of the media don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You just see the results of fight night, and it sucks when you come up short, but at the end of the day, I'm always coming to win, and it's a fight, man. Anything can happen.
So coming into this one, do you feel any extra added pressure that you're getting this 4th opportunity that you have to perform, or is it just, like you just said, another fight?
No, I mean, main thing for me, as far as like pressure for me is, there's a lot of things I'm grateful for, just being stuck at home and just seeing people suffer and seeing people not able to pay their bills and able to put food on the table and stuff. So I'm coming home with 2 checks come Saturday night. I'm going to bring
And you're in a unique position too, because, obviously your wife, Montana, is also a UFC fighter. So while, most fighters don't have that type of situation in their household. So how nice was it for you to have the UFC continue despite when everything else is shutting down?
Oh, man, it's awesome. I'm super, super grateful for the opportunity, and I'm happy I was one of the chosen few.
For sure. And my last question for you, talk about Jourdain Espinosa a little bit, the matchup. He's a guy, you've been around. What do you expect to see out of him come fight night?
I don't see anything different from him. I don't see him a different fight. He fights the same every time. Super athletic, super jittery. I mean, he throws the same combos, dances, moves, super athletic, exciting fighter. But I mean, I'm gonna try to impose my will and bring a pressure that he's never seen before.
Appreciate the time, Mark. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we will take our next question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Mark. So I want to go back to it. You touched on, you've taken those short notice fights and you felt like you were in a good spot. But, with 3 in a row, can you just talk about, what do you tell yourself? How do you get in that right mindset to not feel that pressure? Because obviously no one wants to be in that situation in their career.
Oh, man, like I said, I'm just super, super grateful for the opportunity. I'm able to step in the cage. I'm able to do what I love every single day. Like all I'm able to do is, besides all this quarantine and stuff, but I'm able to train, teach, coach, and better myself and better people around me. So it's just being grateful. I'm always grateful for the opportunity to wake up healthy and do what I love.
Can you talk about your training? Like, how much were you able to actually get in the gym, even with limited people? Were you doing a lot of road work, just, around the neighborhood? Can you talk about what it looked like for you?
I don't want to give too many details because, things are still kind of shut down back home. But let's just say I was able to get good training in and get my bodies in. And then I finished my fight camp in California at Team Oyama. And then I finished my last 2 weeks here in Vegas. And I was able to use Extreme Facility, and I got to train like Alex Perez, Louis Smoka, and I had bodies. I constantly had bodies.
Gotcha. People always go back to it being married to a fellow UFC fighter. How does that work when you're balancing, work and home? Like, is it you stop talking about fights at a certain hour? Is it no fights at the dinner table? How does it work in the De La Rosa household?
It's crazy because it's pretty laid back, chill. Because my daughter's a wrestler too, so we're constantly all training. All we do is eat, sleep, train. But my daughter's like a big TikToker, so she occupies us on our when we're home, like eating dinner and stuff. You would think we'd be talking about fights and wrestling. We're just watching her do some crazy TikToks and dances and stuff. So she's our entertainment show whenever we're at the house.
Some parts of Vegas are open, other parts are closed. How you're gonna celebrate when you get the victory?
To be honest, I don't think I'm gonna celebrate in Vegas a little bit that night, but I'm gonna stay in shape. I'm gonna stay ready, and hopefully they send us both to Fight Island.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
And we will take our next set of questions from Zach Pakleb with UFC.com.
Okay, so obviously, like you said, you have a sense of urgency. How do you balance that, obvious urgency to get a win with sticking to the game plan and making sure you don't fight outside yourself?
I just focus on what's in front of me. I've had a good, my coaches do a good job of just keeping my mindset right, reminding me of the task at hand, and just focus on fight night. I'm not, again, like I said, y'all bring it up, but it's not running through my head at all. I'm just ready to perform, ready to fight, showcase my skills, and give a shout out to my team.
It seems like you have a certain amount of confidence or excitement heading into this fight, maybe compared to your previous ones. Is there anything particular that you're feeling that you haven't felt in the last few fights?
Just a little, just being able to just change the scenery a little bit, training at like Team Oyama, getting different training partners, different looks, seeing Alex Perez get that dominant win over last week over what's his name? Formiga. And just seeing all that, and it's definitely, I'm ready to go. Definitely got me pumped.
And I know you said, it's more so the media and other people bringing up, but the people you've lost to are, France, Alex,
yeah.
These guys are, streaking up. So is that not give you confidence because, I know a loss is a loss, but you think about it, you face some of the better fighters in the division.
Oh yeah, I've Alex Perez, Kai, all these guys, and I've taken those fights on short notice. Yeah. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's a fight. Anything can happen. We can beat each other any given night. Like I said, let me rack up a couple more wins, and I'll start calling these guys back out again.
Yeah. Given UFC's been putting on fights for a while now, but so the circumstances aren't as unique maybe as they were a month ago. But I think fighters are predisposed to fight in special environments. What's the most unique environment you fought in as you were coming up?
Outside, I think I fought in the rain back when I was an amateur. I fought in the rain in San Antonio, Texas. It was crazy.
Yeah, what was that like? I imagine.
Slippery. Luckily, I got the job done in a minute. And right before it started raining hard and the event was canceled, it started sprinkling whenever I was fighting. But luckily, I got the job done, and they canceled the event right after I got my W.
Gotcha. So as you're walking to the octagon, there's not going to be a crowd. It's going to be the Apex. It's going to have a little bit of a different look. I don't know what your thought process is when you normally walk to the octagon, but what do you think it's going to be like when you walk into the Apex?
To be honest, I just been watching all the background stuff and watching these fights and slowly prepping myself, and I've been able to use the awesome facility at Extreme Couture, and they have an awesome the exact same size cage that they are going to use at the Apex. So we've been simulating that environment a lot. Max, I think there's 15 people in the building. I can hear my coaches. I can hear the other guy I'm sparring with or whoever I'm going with. I can hear their coaches. It's honestly, it's going to feel like a sparring session. It's going to feel like to me.
And last thing for me, like you said, Jourdain Espinosa is a guy who's really athletic, and you kind of get a sense of his style. What kind of aspects of your game are you excited to show that he will pull out of you?
It just depends how he shows up. If he's going to run, we'll see. We'll see if he wants to stand. It just depends. I just kind of have to set some traps and see what he bites on. And depending what he bites on, I'll be able to display.
And are you thinking about the smaller cage at all and how that might change things, or is it?
I think it's going to, yeah, I do. I think it's going to favor me a lot. It's going to be easier because I know Jourdain likes to use his footwork a lot and go left, go right, go lateral and stuff. So it's going to be easier for me to cut that cage off. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. That is all the questions we had for you, sir. You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
And with that, we conclude today's virtual media day. We would like to thank everyone for joining today's event.